is Harsh Amin, and I'm interim CEO and a full-time CSO. I represent IV Farm Technologies, which is a cultivated meat company, and we're based in Oxford. And I'm going to give you a bit of an overview what the cultivated meat is, the cultivated meat 101, the future of food. So, can I request a show of hands from you all? That'd be great. Can you raise your hand if you like meat, please? Great. Almost 75, 80%. Can you keep your hand up, please, just for a minute? And can you raise the other hand if you like planet? Great. All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Now, the difficulty is keeping both the hands up in the air while knowing the fact that the meat is the second largest sector as far as the greenhouse gas emissions are concerned. Almost 18% of the global greenhouse gases. It's higher than the transportation altogether and second to the energy sector. So it's a real problem. So what's the problem here? Really, I mean, farming practices. If you look at 1960s, chicken were probably what 1 kilo. Nowadays, our chickens are hybrid. They're massive, right? You're 4.5 kilos of chicken. So what's the problem? Why are we producing so much greenhouse gases? Well, the issue is biology. So let's take the species one by one. If you look at the chicken, the calorie conversion is 7 to 1. What that means essentially is chicken eats 7 calories and it gives you 1 calorie out as meat. If you look at pork, that's worse. It's about 15 to 1. But if you look at the beef, depending on the type of beef, it's anywhere between 25 and 30 calories in, 1 calorie out. So it's just a biology that's not sustainable. So what's the option here? We can all go vegetarian, but remember, you raise your hand. So it's not that easy. I mean, that's the best option, but it's not easy. We've got plant-based options, but people who have eaten meat, who have experienced meat whole their life, usually try to turn back to the meat eating habits. So at IV Farm, we've done it at 3 to 1 ratio through the cultivated meat. And I'm going to walk you through how we've done it. So our cultivated meat essentially is a game-changing technology. Now let's talk about some of the numbers here. So greenhouse gas emission from 3 to 1 ratio, you're looking at about 92% reduction within the cultivated meat production pipeline. But you're also looking at 90% reduction in the land usage, which is again a big problem as you scale up. By 2050, we're anticipating 10 billion individuals on Earth. We don't have enough space to grow more herd and to grow more meat. So it's a real problem. So through the cultivated meat, again, we can reduce the land usage by 90%. And the third is water. You're looking at 66% reduction in the water use. And all of that ultimately giving you a healthy mince beef. Our focus is Aberdeen Angus and Wagyu. Currently, we're focusing on the premium brand. But all of that in about 2 to 3 weeks' time. And I've got a slide to walk you through what real meat delivery takes place, how long it takes versus cultivated meat. All of this is high in iron, omega-3 and 6. Again, not typically found in red meat, but we've developed the levers to increase the vitamin B12 and some of the nutrients which are important. And also no antibiotics, which is very important for the 21st century. We are giving rise to superbugs. So again, our process does not use antibiotics either, so it's antibiotic-free. And all of that, as I said, in 3 to 4 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks, roughly, the production process. Long shelf life as well. You can store that for a couple of years in freezer. So who are we? So we are a sustainable meat company with a top-class leadership, with a deep expertise. If you talk about the biology, the tech, the scale-up, the marketing, and the culture, people, we've got all of it. We're based in Oxford. The company was founded in 2019 out of Oxford University as a spin-out company. And we've been thriving. It's been 5 years now. So how do we do it? So we start with a small piece of tissue, whether that's from the shoulder or the hind limb of a cow. And that's essentially pure muscle and fat cell. And we train these cells And you're looking at roughly about 40 to 50 millimeters size biopsy. That gives you a few million cells. You take them, you culture them, you train them. You basically allow the cells to pull certain levers so that they can grow in the cheap environment. In if you imagine craft brewery, so they can grow in a massive fermenters to deliver a scale, product quantities essentially, and then essentially you scale that up. We use a tag called the PACE, which is called the precision attribute cell engineering. So we engineer the cells to bring certain attributes to bring the cost of meat to the market cost parity, and only then you can make a true sustainable difference. If you look at our facility, if you look at this round big vessel, we call it good old Betty. It's a 25-year-old fermenter that used to be used for insulin production, and it was used for Dolly the sheep, if you remember the very first cloned animal. So we took that, we repurposed that, and we are culturing and producing cultivated meat in Oxford headquarters. This is the largest plant currently exist in Europe, and this is fully solar powered, solar panel powered as well. This produces roughly around 10 tons a year, and we are increasing the capacity. And we are B2B. So what that means is we produce paste ingredient, and then we give it to the likes of Marks and Spencer's, Finnebrug in this case, and then they make the product out of it. The product can be mixed with the plant-based, still giving you nutrients, flavors, the umami around the meat that you get that adds on the plant-based, or it can be mixed with the real meat as well to bring the true sustainable difference. So let's reimagine the meat supply chain. As I said, if you look at the traditional meat production from the barn breeding, roughly around 9 months of gestation, you're looking at about 1 year feed to grow, and you're looking at roughly around 2 to 4 weeks to slaughter, followed by the processing, where you again have about 20% losses. And then you go through the supply chain, distribution, consumption, which then in the end reaches to the end user. So you've got a bit of a loss and a long process, which essentially is giving the greenhouse gas emissions, as we've seen. What we are doing here is, I said, we take a small biopsy, we multiply the cells, we process them. And what's nice about this is all you need to do is take this biopsy once, and then you can keep revisiting these cells again and again for your multiple tons of production. You don't have to kill the animal again and again as well. So it's a sustainable and animal welfare-wise pretty appealing as well. And then again, go through the distribution, retail, and the consumption, and that delivers the end consumer. All of that in about 3 to 4 weeks to the consumers. So there's a big difference, which again is important for the food security, the sustainability, as well as nutrients. So last slide. So past, present, and the future, as I said, we were found in 2019. We built a team through 2020. We did a bit of a COP26, Fat Duck and Hack collaboration with some of the early prototypes, engineering solutions, building the tech. But the real value addition from the tech started to come from 2023 when we started to focus on premium beef. We are currently looking at the commercial partnerships. We've got a plant partnership in Finland that produces 12,000 metric ton a year. We're waiting for the regulatory approval. Looks like we are anticipating 2026 for sale within the UK and possibly Singapore. We're waiting for the US as well, depending on the government and all the trade wars that's going on. That may take longer. But ultimately, what we are anticipating is you should be seeing cultivated meat on the shelf of supermarket sometime in 2026, if not early 2027. Thank you.